Justin and Jiah are a couple of guys who know they're gonna die, so they're biding time by consuming content and wasting their breath. It's a podcast called Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Welcome to the Christmas episode of Amusing Ourselves to Death, where we do the work, you do the pleasure. I'm Jiah Peck.
And I'm Justin Passano.
And today we're talking about my favorite movie, my favorite Christmas movie. And there's no debate, there's no doubt that this is a Christmas movie. The 1985 cult film, Brazil.
Brazil.
It's not actually a Brazilian film. It is a Terry Gilliam
joint.
I
wouldn't even go as far to say as this movie has anything to do with anything about Brazil.
Not at all. But we can get into that.
Okay. We're going to get into it.
Welcome. I think my sound just went out.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Did the levels go down a bit?
There we go.
I
turned your monitor off.
You turned my monitor off.
I turned mine off as well.
You were monitoring us?
I was monitoring you through the ducts.
This will all be cut out.
And
maybe
we've reset.
Maybe not. We reset and back to one. Justin, how you doing?
I'm okay. It's been a weird 24 hours for me.
We're recording this on Thanksgiving weekend, this Sunday, after Big Old Turkey Day.
Big Old Turkey Day. This will be released. I guess this is basically Christmas.
Christmas
almost. around then.
Around 12/25.
The Monday before,
right?
Or
after.
Yeah.
Depending,
you could be listening to this on Christmas,
or years later as you go through our archives. As one of us becomes world famous for something really bad, and like, what were these guys doing before that happened?
Yeah, like I can't believe they only made it to 10 episods before the horrible thing happened. I wonder if they knew that before 2020 that the horrible thing was going to happen.
Well, let's unlock the key to the psyche that led to the horrible thing. What will this tell us about us as a society, about the horrible thing, if we listen to their prior work? This actually reminds me of something horrible I did that I won't even name the people involved with it.
Well, okay.
This is like
redacted.
Like, yeah, okay. This literally, like, do you remember the guy, the Virginia Tech shooter?
No. Wait, when did that happen?
Like 2007.
You're gonna be more specific with your American shootings, Jay. I've completely lost track.
He was an Asian American man who shot up a school, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. In 2007. Okay, I think I vaguely remember that.
The internet discovered that he had written some screenplays, and those screenplays somehow just get cut out.
No, continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
These screenplays were released on the internet on like smokinggun.com. So
was that like a early like?
It was like, they released like PDFs of like police reports and
like an early
like crime scene photos.
Like
WikiLeaks early
on
WikiLeaks
a small level.
Yeah. So we proceeded to with some friends, who I'll not name on this podcast, as our twisted minds just got drunker and drunker. We're like, let's do a reenactment of this movie script written by a school shooter.
Okay.
And we performed it to ourselves in the living room. Some of us played multiple parts. It was only like 12 pages long. I believe it was called Richard McBeef, and it was a horrifying look into the inside of a madman.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you just did a little experiment. And,
just trying to just get into the headspace,
I guess.
To get
that. You got it, yeah. Just try to understand it, Mm-hmm. You just did it for yourself. It's not like you made it like a thing.
And then when we met up like years later, we did it again, so...
Oh, so you've been doing this every year since, is what you're saying?
We'll be on Broadway, actually.
Every 5 years?
Next year.
Oh, okay, so you are capitalized.
We're looking on securing the Betsy Ross Theater.
That's even better to me, that you're making money off of it now. Oh, wow. Woof. Well, happy Christmas, or happy holidays. How were your holidays, Jiah?
It was fun. I went home to Pennsburg. My sister and her family came in. They did all the cooking. I just kind of sat there and helped babysit the nephews. And
would you rather cook or rather babysit?
I'd rather... Depends on what babysitting is. Is it just watching Sesame Street? Or is it like...
I think anything goes. Anything could happen.
Or is it...
Would you rather be alone with a toddler
or
cook a meal for your family?
It could be alone with a toddler.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious where you stand. I ask everybody I know that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like your icebreaker question.
It's my icebreaker question. Mm-hmm. Usually about a year, 2 years into I've known a person, I'll ask my big icebreaker question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so you played with your nephew?
Yeah, I watched the same Sesame Street sketch from 1970 something 3 times in a row. It was the same one about Big Bird going to a sleepover and getting scared and breaking the bed and just getting sung like a lullaby by the friend's parents, who are just in the next room, and they come in anytime there's any kind of noise or just someone yells, they're already just like, they both enter the room like within like 2 seconds flat.
I think Big Bird and I have the exact same childhood as far as sleepovers go. Can't tell you how many times I've cried until they've brought me back to my house. Hated it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was it definitely, we watched some ones later on from like the modern day, and there's definitely just a big stylistic change. The kids were slower back then, or they just were more they didn't need to be like lulled by like they use like apps on phones within Sesame Street to explain things. Here in the old ones, they just explain things.
Oh, okay.
So
there's less technology,
right? Obviously
used as a tool.
And then so we didn't really watch the movies as a family. My mom was not into like violence, so like there's like kind of like a limited option. We weren't going to watch The Irishman as a family, obviously.
Oh, okay.
I did watch Goodfellas. My dad, my grandmother, and my brother-in-law was checking in, kind of like just like a kind
Just
of
checking
in,
in,
just checking in.
Just peeking his head in, see where you're at in the movie.
Yeah,
Ray Liotta still on coke. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
So I did one of the nights after dinner was put away on Friday night, I was watching some of Avengers Endgame on Disney Plus, which I cowardly signed up for, obviously.
So did your family didn't have this? You brought your account with you and logged in?
I brought my account with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I loaded my Disney Plus account into a suitcase.
And that's what's great about Disney Plus is you can log in from any and multiple devices. It's you don't have to carry your content with you. It's always there. Sign up for Disney Plus. Sponsored by I'm using our Seltzerdays. Sponsored by Disney Plus.
They did send us that big cachet box full of the head of Walt Disney, so we have to do what they say.
We do. So
we're kind of holding on to it.
If you have a deal with Verizon right now, you can get Disney Plus for a year. So that's another way to get it. So you put on the excellent Marvel Avengers Endgame on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, rewatching it for the second time. I mean, rewatching it watching it for the second time.
So if you're rewatching it for the second time, that'd be the third time.
No, this was not the third time. But this is only the second time I've seen this movie.
Okay, so you rewatched it.
And my sister, this is a movie that made $2 billion, probably the highest grossest movie of all time.
Yeah, it was the event.
Yeah.
It was a global event.
Yeah. So
we can all, like 9/11, ask, where were you when Marvel Avengers Endgame was released?
Where were you, Justin?
Me?
Yeah.
I think I was at work.
I think I was at work too. Yeah. It was like a Thursday night or.
Oh, if it was well, technically, was it if there's like a 7:00 showing?
Right.
Is that when the first showing probably was?
The theaters are too cowardly to do midnight shows anymore, so they do 7:00.
Okay. Yeah, so I was probably just getting home. Mm-hmm. Where were you, Jiah?
Anyway,
also at work.
I think I was probably there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Ooh, ground zero.
Yeah. Never forget.
Never forget. All right. Sorry. Continue. No, all this is getting deleted.
Yeah.
But yeah, your sister.
Yeah. So she's a person of the world. She's not into movies. They make her fall asleep. She does not. She has more important things. Obviously, as far as movies go, that's a very low priority if you want to live a well-rounded life.
Okay. She's just not into content.
Not into content.
Not a big fan of the pod, is what you're saying.
She just had a second baby, so obviously. So I said,
that's
I'm
her
watching.
Pod.
What's her pod?
That's kind of her. No, that's kind of her pod. Her
yeah.
pod is her children.
Mm-hmm.
They keep her amused. Like podcasts to me keep me amused about 8 hours a day.
Right.
The children, I'm sure, do the same. She learns a lot from them.
For some reason, my parents are still disappointed in me, even though I have a podcast. You think that would have raised in the ranks.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she asked, "What's this movie called?" As it's kind of this in the beginning part where everyone's just still kind of depressed, and after that, like the 5-year time jump.
Yeah.
And I say, "This is Avengers Endgame." She's like, "What? Avengers Endgame? What is that? It $2 billion, biggest movie of the year? Like, is it she sounded like I just like recanted a spell from Harry Potter or something like that. Like Avengers. What are they? What? So I had to explain that. So it's just kind of crazy. Where we live in this life of just like so much content, we're constantly extremely online, and we know these words, we know these franchises, all
even
the
if you're
ups
like
and downs.
Not a fan of them,
right?
It's in the zeitgeist. You can't get away from that,
right?
Yeah, McClunky's everywhere. I can't get away from it. Mm-mm. Right.
Yeah, so it's just it was an interesting moment of reflection. Just like there's some people who just don't have this stuff mainlined in their veins,
they
like
aren't tapped in.
24/7. reading tweets and press releases and playing video game spin-offs of franchises they love. So,
Does she seem happier
yes,
than us?
Much happier.
Really?
Much more fulfilled and happy.
Because I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and that's where I think I want to go.
Yeah.
I don't think I would stop watching movies. I think I just need to get off social media, and I feel like I'm not in too deep yet. I can do it, but I'm just every day that I delay it, the worse it gets. I'm not responding to things as much anymore. I don't want to get in a whole social media thing, but that sounds very enticing.
Like we're always responding to things. We use it as a platform to promote our shows or our podcasts. And to quit now, it's like we'd be losing out on like life itself.
Would we?
I think so.
I don't know if anybody's even seen it anyway. Half the time. Those algorithms. I post a lot of stuff. Nobody it doesn't really make any difference as far as attendance to anything digitally or in person.
As far as the night of, they're like, I gotta drive.
Yeah, I gotta drive.
I got things here I can watch or enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't really watch the movies as a family. We have done that in the past. We watched like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Last year we watched Burn After Reading, which
that's a good Thanksgiving.
That was almost kind of like a practical joke I pulled on them, just because they're like, "What the fuck was that? What was the point?" I get that asked. What's the point of that? What's the point of that movie?
I love that movie. Yeah. Gotta do an episode on that movie. Well, I mean, it's very deceiving. It's got Clooney. You know, it's
got Brad Pitt.
Got Brad Pitt. It's like
McDormand.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm in for like this could be just a nice like.
It's very timely too, with like the Russians and leaking documents.
Yeah.
Men on boats going nuts and drinking with Princeton graduates. That happens.
Jogging.
That's a thing.
I'm gonna go for a run. Tap my stomach.
So yeah, that was my slightly just kind of muted media-filled weekend. It was also Shabbat, so no phones or movies on Shabbat.
Which is Friday night,
Friday
essentially.
Night. Yeah, Friday to Saturday night.
Oh, Friday to Saturday night, not just to Saturday
25
morning.
hours, yeah.
Wow.
So it was a lot to get. It was a lot to ignore while I just blatantly just like use my laptop and iPad and phone and disregarded the laws of Hashem. What did I do?
Yeah.
We just hung and sat in the house.
Just sat there and talked to each other?
Yeah. Talked to each other, read books. Went outside a little bit, briefly. They did. I didn't.
You stayed in.
I stayed in. Fuck that. It's cold.
So you can read books.
Yeah, you can read books. You can flip pages. You just can't do anything that creates a spark. So that does involve turning on television or even watching TV.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was my weekend. Justin, how was yours?
It was good. I had a quick holiday. I wasn't able to go home until Friday night, and then I ended up driving back to my hometown in New York. Friday night, got in around 11:30, and then we had some bad weather today that we're recording. It's like a little bit of freezing rain and stuff. So I ended up driving back Saturday night back to Pennsylvania. So drove 10 hours and 24 hours and had a total of, I think, 8 or 9 hours waking hours home.
Ooh.
Had the dinner and then hit the road, drove 5 hours back. So by the time I got back last night at like 11:30, about 24 hours to the dot from when I got to my mom's house on Friday night. I had a splitting headache from driving at night and proceeded to, instead of go right to sleep, I laid in bed and watched YouTube videos about Chris Gethard's opinions on tertiary Star Wars characters.
Kit Fisto, he's a fan.
Kit
right?
Fisto, yeah. Kit Fisto, R.I.P. The legend Kit Fisto. If you, look it up online. It's an amusing take on Star Wars, and I love Chris Gethard, so. But that's what I did until about 1 o'clock, and then I passed out and slept in until like 10.
On your drive back and forth, were you listening to anything?
Just Blank Check.
Blank Check.
Their episodes are so long. Shout out to Blank Check that I got through almost two on the way on the 5-hour drive.
That is a good way to pass the time.
I listened to the As Good as It Gets one with Gethard, and then I listened to, I forget what the other one was. Oh, Starship Troopers with J.D. Amato. Two movies that Starship Troopers I've seen a bunch. I've only seen As Good as It Gets like once, but anyway, I enjoyed that podcast. So I was like, I needed somebody to talk to me.
Yeah, podcasts are a good way. It's like you're kind of, it's almost like you have people in your car if you're driving by yourself, just to kind of just keep you awake. You know, you're not participating in the conversation, but it's enough to keep your brain active and not drive off the road.
Right, exactly. So, which is why you should like, rate, and review, and subscribe to this podcast. Listen to it in your car. You could be listening to it right now, and I bet we're just keeping you right awake.
Instead of listening like at the gym, like a jerk off, or
some kind of jerk off at the gym.
Fucking jerk offs at the gym.
And I try to listen to podcasts at the gym, and I only listen to comedy podcasts. So then I just start laughing while on the elliptical. I look like an insane person.
I've done that too. You have to kind of like stifle your laugh because it's like, who's this jerk off?
Who's this jerk off? All these jerk offs are just looking at each other in the gym.
He's not listening to Billie Eilish or Run DMC or Instrument Music Choice here.
Yeah,
that's a good band.
Put in your own right there. Yeah,
yeah.
I love that band.
Create your own punchline.
Yeah. Do you know? Create the world you want to live in. But yeah, that was my Turkey Day. Got to see my 11-year-old second cousin, Violet. We shook hands, said nice to see you, and that was that.
That's a good way of greeting family. I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I've never really learned that method of like greeting people with like a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
I've never like perfected that, and I never really had to practice or just.
My aunts do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I was like, I think I got it wrong once where like I kind of like, we both went the same direction. Like I kind of like fucked my glasses up. So it's like, I just don't even bother. I'm just, are you going to the left? Do I go to the left and kiss you on your left, on your right cheek? Or
right.
Should I go to your left and not kiss you on your right cheek?
Should just get down on one knee.
Yeah. Right.
And just, shake your hand. I don't know what's
bump.
The ritual here.
Hey grandma, fist bump.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah. And then, like, I don't know. There's been this whole thing I've seen on the Twitterverse. I don't know if you're on Twitter. There's this thing called Twitter. It's a blue bird.
I'm on it right now.
There's lots of opinions. But like young, especially young girls, like during the holidays, and like be like, oh, making them give you hugs and like this whole like physical thing. Just like, oh, I've just seen a lot of it in the past few years. A lot of like, make sure your daughter knows she doesn't have to like get hugged by people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like, and so like when Violet was like, oh, she shook my hand, it made me think of that. I was like, oh, this is what she's comfortable with. Because there's people who are like, no, give me a hug, whether or not you're comfortable with it at all. And it's like, well, I'm almost envious of her because my entire life I got the kisses on the cheek and my glasses would get bent and I'd get the weird hugs. Not that I, have a problem with my family, but I could see how that could be a problem for some people, and I'm glad they're figuring it out.
As glasses wearers, I think like half of the trauma in our life is related to like bad things happen to our glasses that just avert us from doing anything.
Yes.
I got hit in the head with like a football at like age 7 with it was like, but it didn't quite break my glasses, but it hit me in the head. And my first concern was my glasses.
Oh no, my glasses.
So that kind of turned me off sports forever.
I've had a lot of moments where moths have a tendency to fly in between my eye and my glasses and then get stuck in there, in which case I take my glasses and just like I'm not even thinking about it, and I fling them across the yard or wherever I am, and then I'm like, again, my glasses, and that's turned me off of like moths and bugs forever. That relates back to not to keep plugging another podcast, but Gethard on Blank Check was talking about how he can't watch movies. He's thinking about getting LASIK. He can't watch movies because he's afraid to fall asleep with his glasses on. Oh. And then Griffin Newman mentioned he has TV glasses, which are an old pair of junkie glasses that he wears while watching TV in case he falls asleep. Therefore, he doesn't ruin his new glasses. So maybe that's an option for you.
I've had that too, where it's like I'm drifting off. Like I gotta take my glasses off, and then it kind of you don't quite fall asleep naturally. If I'm just on the couch or something like that, I'm just kind of like, well, I'm actively gonna take a nap now, so take my glasses off.
Yeah. You can't just like. Yeah, I'm envious of people who can still see and just like have their glasses off and like just fall asleep.
Or they can like watch 3D movies while having to like put the 3D glasses over their glasses.
Like some kind of jerk off.
Yeah, fucking jerk offs.
Fucking jerk offs.
6 eyes over here.
Ugh. Yeah. No, that was my holiday.
Okay.
Anything besides the holidays as far as things we can cover? Our amusing aperitifs. Anything you're into this week?
Nothing substantial. I'm just rereading some stuff I might have things to say about next time.
Okay.
Just watching McClunky.
McClunky.
Week.
I mean, you got to watch the Gremlin in McClunky. Did you see what the Gremlin did this week?
I did.
Oh my god.
You had a cup of coffee or something?
Yeah, a cup of tea, I think. Yeah, a cup of coffee, cup of tea. People are on Twitter. You on Twitter? It's got this blue bird full of opinions. You said you're on it?
It's http://www.twitter.com.
Yeah, and then
I've been there.
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, so if you go on there, there's lots of shots of the Gremlin drinking tea, and a lot of people have things to say about it.
Speaking of drinking, got to crack open my
Polar
Seltzer
Aid
tart cherry limeade
with essence of fresh limes. That's what I'm drinking as well as some just straight up coffee with some oat milk.
You got a cold drink, you got a hot drink.
You gotta have a cold and hot. It's a good mix. You got a whiskey drink, you got a vodka drink. You sing songs that remind you of the good times.
Songs about the bad times.
Yeah. Cheers.
The Home Alone 3 theme song. Yeah.
Wait, what? Really?
Cheers. I was using all the TV promos for Home Alone 3, the thub thumping song.
Wasn't it like already like way past the point of popularity?
Of course
at that
it
point?
was.
So,
Yeah.
as well as Home Alone?
Right.
Well, I mean, I liked Home Alone 3. I just don't remember that at all.
I just remember the TV spots for it. It's lodged in my brain where things about intimacy should be. Anyway. Brazil?
Well, my thing that I'm using myself
I'm sorry.
this week.
I thought...
I mean, it's okay. We don't have to do it. We don't have to.
Please, I want to hear
I'm just trying to delay getting to Brazil as long as possible.
Oh, boy. That's a good sign.
No, I'm just watching Silicon Valley. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet.
I don't think so, no.
The new season's, we're in the middle of it right now. I think it's winding down.
I believe there's 2 left. I've only watched the premiere.
Okay.
I'm catching up.
It's great. I love that show. I'm going to miss it. Really good.
This is like the first full... No, there's been 2 seasons without TJ Miller. Is that right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. I don't think he's coming back.
Probably not.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just insane. It's just, I love that show. And then like we've had the thing recently with what's his name? The truck. The truck came out. The shitty looking truck.
Oh, the
Tesla. No, not Tesla.
The PlayStation 2 cutscene vehicle.
Yeah. No, what's
the pre-rendered cutscene?
What's the guy? What's the guy who made it? Who presented it?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah, I keep want to say Tesla.
The Tesla truck.
Yeah. Elon Musk. Oh, it's called the Tesla truck. That's why. Is that what he called it?
I don't know.
Anyway, whatever. It's a shitty truck. What I'm saying is missed opportunity. Like if that had happened right before this season had, you know what I mean? It's like it's art imitating. It's life imitating art. It's like too perfect.
The snake eating its tail.
Yeah, it's so good.
Ouroboros is what that concept is called.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the last good HBO comedies until we get Curb Enthusiasm back, which is kind of just like a shambling zombie of its former self now.
Yeah. Well, what's that? I don't even know what's. See, I only watch HBO like.
As you should.
No, like
it's the only good network.
I feel like once a year I'll have like 2 or 3 things that are out, and I'm like, cool, watching HBO every Sunday for like 2 months straight, and then it ends, and I'm like, well, that's it. And right now it's Watchmen and Silicon Valley, and once those are done, they'll probably be ending around the same time. I got nothing except for Succession, which that was going to be my aperitif this week, but you know what? I already said Silicon Valley.
Okay. How far are you in
Okay,
Succession?
we'll touch it really quick. I'm like episode 3.
Okay.
Or no, I finished episode 3. I'm still really
so we'll
early.
do a substantial Succession.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
talk.
it. I had Thanksgiving off by myself here before I went to my mom's. I made a vegan roast, and then I watched that. I binged that for most of the day, and I enjoyed it. It's really good. But yeah, we'll cover that more.
Absolutely.
Cool. That's it. I guess you want to get to Brazil or end the show. I'm fine ending the show right here.
I see an uncracked DVD disc that Justin probably has not watched.
No. I mean, I know a lot about this movie. Yeah. It's letterboxed in its proper aspect ratio. It's a pristine transfer that is digitally restored optical effects and has made in 1985.
Yeah.
142 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in color. I knew that. Yeah. So that's Brazil. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you shit. No, I did watch it. I did watch it today. But this is your favorite Christmas movie.
This is my favorite Christmas movie. This might be one of my favorite movies of all time. I was kind of thinking about it. Like, this was like in my burgeoning formation of a film buff persona back in like late middle school, high school. I was renting all kinds of movies from Netflix. You know, Netflix.
Is that the where you get the DVD in the mail?
The DVDs in the mail, yeah. That's what they're known for. Now, you know, they have a little side streaming business, but
really?
Mainly they're known for like DVDs in the mail. And I
don't know if the streaming thing's gonna take off.
Probably not, you know. So anyway, I saw an image of like an angel jumping off from a wall of filing cabinets, and it's just something about that image, which is on the cover of the DVD.
It's the cover.
Yeah, something about that image was like, what is this movie? So it just kind of captured my imagination. So I believe I watched the trailer, and it quickly became one of my favorite movies of all time. Well,
it's listed on a lot of lists of like 1,000 movies to watch before you die.
Yeah. It is still a movie that I have to explain to people. If I say Brazil, like, what's that about? Is it take place in Brazil? I'm like, no, you fucking idiot.
Like people who haven't seen it, you got to explain it to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've seen it, and I'd like you to explain it to me. Stuff.
No, it's a movie about the hell that we deserve.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's yeah. Yeah, I know. I saw this movie. I have seen this movie before.
Yeah, when I brought it up, Justin was like, I saw it in college. I hated it. I wanted to burn it. I literally destroyed a television after seeing it. And you bring this monstrosity back to my life?
You bring this to my doorstep?
My doorstep.
After all this time, you come back here thinking you've got a home here? You left. You're the one who left. Mm-hmm. No, I just, I blacked out or something the first time I saw this. I don't think it grabbed my attention. I was in college, so it was early 2000s. Somebody tried to show it to me, and it was probably one of those instances where people were like, you haven't seen this? Let's watch it right now. And I was like, I'm really not in the mood to watch a movie right now. It's like, no, we're going to watch it right now. I was like, okay. So I'm being forced to watch it.
I'll gather around like a little 15-inch television.
The way this is meant to be seen.
You sit on someone's bed who's just not there, but they're probably coming back. And
yeah. Oh, they're coming back.
They're coming back. Passing smoking bowls of marijuana around, drinking a lot, as college kids do.
Oh yeah,
not the best way to watch.
Calling the dean, you know,
going on panty raids,
looking
through holes in the locker rooms,
failing out, staging an entire parade,
signing up for too many student organizations just to give up all your time, Toga parties,
Toga.
Those were big in college.
That was big. Oh,
yeah. Every weekend, toga part, another one.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll fit it in.
Yeah, I mean, they were all fun though.
They were great. Yeah. They were a blast. I mean, I couldn't think of a better thing.
The food, I mean, chef's kiss emoji.
Chef's kiss emoji. Yeah. At the time, though, there weren't any emojis, so we just did the chef's kiss. It was all of us standing around in our togas, eating food, doing chef's kiss, and prank calling the dean, and that was college, and that's Brazil. So thanks for listening today. So I don't remember anything. I didn't remember anything about this movie except for I remember De Niro was in it. Like some of it started coming back to me when I was watching it, and I remembered again the flying guy,
all the dream sequences.
Yeah, and then the office stuff. Like I think I told you I remember that because it was kind of
there was like scenes of hallways. People. So we just give like a brief what the movie's about.
Or, yeah. Do you want to get into plot?
I mean, it's just
really not
the log lines. Like it's set in like this stifling totalitarian society,
dystopian future,
just squeezing the humanity out of people. It follows a lowly government worker named Sam Lowry as he fantasizes about like a woman saving her from all kinds of monsters. He works as like a paper pusher in this bureaucratic information gathering, torturing, just
it's almost like not the NSA. It's like some kind of totalitarian government, like just like I don't know, terrorists are everywhere. Here's fear.
Right.
Do what you're supposed to do. Follow the rules, and you'll be fine.
And then based on like one mistake where like a bug gets caught,
literally
in, like
a
fly, like the dead fly, like gets caught in the machine, and it screws up a paperwork that the wrong guy gets arrested
and killed.
He dies due to a heart failure that wasn't on the other guy's paperwork, so no one's taking responsibility.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of ducks. DUCTS. A lot of ducks in this movie and a lot of paperwork. First shot, I think, is just
do you
ducks.
like your ducks?
Yeah. And then an explosion.
So it's about him trying to correct this mistake and
him also trying to stalk this woman.
Yeah, he's stalking her, dream. And he's trying to survive his apartment, which is kind of just disintegrating
because of the ducks.
And he calls in like some service guys, and they just destroy his place. Basically, it's there's no safe place for our main character.
No, they're absolutely not. There's no place of comfort except for maybe his first job, his like the records department.
Right,
which he seems to enjoy.
He kind of just runs the show there.
Yeah, because his buddy, I don't even want to call him his buddy. The guy he runs,
boss,
Jack.
Oh, Jack. Yeah. A friend of ours, his works as a torturer who brings his daughter to work while he's torturing people.
Yeah.
And a big silo.
Yeah, and a baby mask. Well, huge waste of space in that silo. I want to get into that.
I want to get into that too.
But yeah, no, Jack is just like, oh, why are you in the records department? That's a dead end. He's like, no one's ever going to notice you there. And he's like, yes. Perfect. Yeah. This man, Sam, does not want to be noticed. He doesn't even want to dream at one point. He's just like I don't want it. He just wants to go through his life and die without being bothered, it seems.
Exactly. He's got his mother who's getting on his case about, moving, she used to date the guy who runs things, Mr. Helpman.
Yeah.
So, she wants him to advance in his career. What else? There's stuff in the movie. There's a lot in every scene.
There's a lot happening in this movie. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll get into my opinions on
please.
it. But yeah, I guess as a whole this movie is Red Tape, the movie.
Yes.
And it results in a man's death, which this other man is also trying to find this woman, and he's having all this, as you said, these fantasies, these hero fantasies, because the real world's so awful. Like, there's graffiti everywhere where that just says reality, and it's like face reality and all this stuff, and it's like this police state.
Things are just so dumb and convoluted.
Yeah.
There's no escape.
No one has any empathy for anybody.
Except his dream girl, Jill, who's actually like she's like the only decent character in the movie, where her neighbor gets arrested wrongfully, and she's the one that goes, Mr. Buttle. Not to confuse with Harry Tuttle, played by Robert De Niro, a renegade maintenance man.
Vigilante who fixes AC and heat units, and he's in it for the action.
Right.
What the fuck is going on in this movie, Jiah? What is this movie? Like, I want to know what the fuck I get the point of it, and I think I got the point of it in the first 10 minutes, and then there's like 2 hours and 30 minutes left. It's like a 2 hour. How long is this?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's one moment I hit display on the Blu-ray thing, and it said it only 40 minutes had passed, and it felt like it was an hour. What? Like,
so nothing's changed since college, Dustin.
My final notes on this movie, like I stopped taking notes at one point. It was just okay. So here are the last 5 lines I wrote in my notes.
All right, here we go.
Mother steals Jill's body. Body goo. Jill is alive. What the fuck is going on? I hate this movie. It was the last thing I wrote. That being said, I just want to say that I think this movie's too long. For what it's trying to say. I get this is a big Monty Python guy, and he likes his gags.
It's just director Terry Gilliam. He came off Time Bandits, Holy Grail, I believe he directed.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I brought up his IMDb earlier, but he was obviously a big in that whole crew.
Right. He later directed 12 Monkeys, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas,
which Fear and Loathing also too long, too much going on. Love 12 Monkeys. No, this is I don't hate this movie. I think I just hate the way it made me feel.
If you hate it, it's going to be such a more interesting episode as we just yell at each other our opinions. God, this is how cable news works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Except we don't have videos of our talking heads screaming at each other. It's just like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of visual gags. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because we talked about the past 24 hours I had. I don't know if I'm just tired. Or if this movie.
You just watched it this morning, right?
I just watched it this morning, but I slept in. I think it just had a hard time like really reeling me in. I think it's just because the plot is so meandering, and I already kind of knew. I was like, all right, I get what you're saying. It's just so fucking bleak, and it just like. Any time there's any kind of dash of hope, it just stomps on it, and then it's just like, there was a moment I forgot what was even happening in the movie.
Towards the middle, like when he's with Jill and like she's like picking up that house and they're getting chased by guards. Yeah, I'll give you that. It meanders a little bit towards like the middle of the second act,
but it seems like that's the point because it's like the whole movie is paperwork. It's just paperwork, and then like everything's like there's a form for everything. There's receipts for everything.
You got to take a form to get a stamp. You got to get that stamp from another form. You needed the first place to get that stamp in that form. Yeah,
I can't walk into a room and go into I can't go from point A to point B without going to A.1, A.2, A.3. Like, it's like I'm just zigzagging all over the room just so I can get to the other side of the room, where De Niro's character is just like, no, we're going to fucking go, we're just going to get it done. And that's why people hate him, because it seems like
he's on a watch list. He's the guy they're gunning for in the beginning. He's Tuttle.
Yeah. So efficiency is terrorism in this, right? Because...
Yeah, this is a world where everything is dumb and convoluted. Nothing works. even like they cut that hole into the ceiling to
Yes.
raid Buttle's place, and like they back to metric without telling us, and the cork they get to fill in the hole doesn't fit or just goes right through.
Yeah.
Sam's Rube Goldberg breakfast machine is totally on the fritz.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
This is like, how many movies now have we watched together or talked about where there's some kind of fucking Rube Goldberg machine in the beginning? All right, you know who the only one who got it right was Pee-wee. Pee-wee's is the only one that works in Big Adventure. Everything else is shitty. Like the Back to the Future one, shitty.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Everything's stupid, and like the Ironese dog bowl, it doesn't stop. And then this one, also shitty.
The power went out, was on the fritz, and just things got misaligned.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Jetsons had it. It's like this, I think it's just like this weird trope of like, it's the future, so therefore there are these Rube Goldberg machines. And it seems like he did that, like, the whole point of the movie is it's like, as in they say, Mel Brooks said in Spaceballs, even in the future, nothing works.
Right. Even like the screen, everyone has a computer at their desk, but the screen is so small. So instead of making bigger screens, they just put a big magnifying glass in front of it. So they...
Yeah, and they watch old movies while what's their boss is like...
Just like steps inside of his office and they just play it full volume, obviously.
Yeah, and then... Yeah, he every time he peeks out, like nobody's getting anything done. Nothing gets done in this movie at all.
Did you ever catch? Did you catch the ambiguity of, are there actual terrorists blowing things up, or do they have just such shitty infrastructure that things just keep blowing up and they have to blame it on something?
By the end of the movie, I was like, it's the ducks.
Right.
They're exploding.
It's the ducks,
It seems like nothing works. By the end of the movie, his flat is like full. Because those two guys are like camped out in there.
Yeah, like he tried calling in for help, and then like Tuttle just intercepted the call, so he decided to help out.
Yeah. See, there's so much to cover here. I think this is gonna be a longer episode, but like, I want to get to most of it. Let's talk about Tuttle.
Okay.
And let's talk about the scene where we first meet Tuttle, played by De Niro.
Yes.
Which is this is a movie. This is the first time I've ever seen De Niro do basically just a cameo.
He had, I think, two scenes, three if you include the fantasy at the end.
Right. So it's like, but he's not like a main character.
No, he got paid more than everyone else, though, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But it's just interesting to me because every movie I've ever seen is like, I'm looking at De Niro the whole movie. Whereas now, like...
We barely even see his face until the end.
Barely, yeah. So Tuttle is a maintenance repairman who's in it for the action, as we said. He's supposed to be abducted by the government, but because a literal fly falls into a typewriter, types a B, Buttle. Therefore, Buttle gets abducted. Tuttle's still on the loose. The government's still looking for him. So Sam's heating system one night is on the fritz.
Right. It just makes his apartment go to like 100 degrees. So he calls the company. He calls the company for help.
Central Services.
And he's like, I need help. Like, oh, sorry, we cannot help you. This has not been a recording. And they hang up on him.
Yeah.
So then Tuttle intercepts the call and decides, I'm going to help this guy out, fix his thing without paperwork. Right. But then the real Central Services come, like, oh,
he also comes in with like a fucking gun.
Right.
So you think it's like a home invasion at first. He's like in a full cat suit, like, not cat suit, but like burglar.
He's a ninja.
He looks like a burglar.
He's a
burglar
ninja. Burglar ninja.
He's got a rope and he's got a gun and he's like, no, I'm here to fix your air conditioning unit. And it's like, okay. And then he puts the gun away and and then Central Services, there's two schmucks. I think one of the guys...
It's Bob Hoskins.
Was he Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. But and then who was the other guy?
I don't know.
He was a tall guy. I feel like I've seen him in things. I don't remember what his name is, but you can listeners, you can look.
They both have very big bills on their hats, which I love.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It goes about like a foot and a half long out of their head.
I like that. I like the style in this movie. It reminded me of Her. The movie Her.
Yes.
You know, and that how everything's like just slightly different.
It's the future, but it's not like too futuristic.
No, just everybody has their shirt tucked in and their pants are very high. Right. It's like, or there's like, no buttons on a polo or one less button. It's like, oh, all right. Yeah, so it's not the too distant
fashion
future.
Evolves.
Yeah. But this movie is a shitty Her, basically. Not in terms of like quality, but in terms of the future.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I would not want to live here.
No, God no.
Even like customer service has gone out the window where like they're ordering dinner and like he's like, I'll just have a steak. Like, pick the number 3. It reminds you just like that ideal that state of mind a lot of people have at Starbucks. Where like, I go to Starbucks, I have to say venti, I have to say grande, I have to say Trente, tall.
Yeah.
And you don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
You
They
can
don't
just
care.
say they do not give a shit. I've been saying small coffee for years. I've never once said tall coffee.
It all started because of that Paul Rudd movie.
Right.
And he had the whole scene where he's like, oh, is it a fancy? Just give me a large. And it's like, that's not a thing that actually happens.
Right, yeah. They're making minimum wage. They just want to get through the day. They're not going to argue about that.
Right. They don't care.
No.
And also
Nobody
this
cares.
other thing on Twitter, because I'm going to go on as many tangents as I want to, tangents, is the whole the Vermont police officers with the pig thing. Did you see this?
Yes.
See this? You hear about this?
I heard.
And there's like this whole argument how it's former Starbucks employees are like, so what happens is these cops went into the Starbucks, and this relates to Brazil, I promise, to the police state we're currently living in, where you can get your name printed on the receipt, and the cop got it and it said pig. And then now there's this whole thing on Twitter. You on Twitter? It's got this blue bird. There's lots of opinions.
I dabble.
You dabble, okay. But everybody's like, former Starbucks employees are like, that's like a blocked word. So they have like, their system blocks profanity.
Right, so people can just say fucko and make someone say fucko.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. So now people are like, I think the cops manipulated it somehow, or it's like
just to get some sympathy for the cops.
Right. Yeah. What I'm saying is we're heading in this movie is the future, and I mean might be there
every
now.
time there's like an incident in this movie, like people are just pointing guns at each other.
Yes.
Like just like he's getting patted down at his mother's party by guys in these like Victorian like wigs, costumes, and they just point guns at him for no reason at all.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. I had a note. Guns are everywhere.
Yeah.
Like when they're going through the metal detector, and she has that just like piece of junk.
Right.
In her
the same gift they're giving everybody, which also feels very true in life. We're just giving the same gifts to each other.
I didn't catch that at first. It's that weird yes/no thing.
It's like that yes/no decision making guillotine almost.
Yeah.
It's like heavily gradiented towards like no, so you can only get no answers. So
yeah, I didn't notice that. I saw that he got in a gift, and then he was up in Jack's office, and he's like, oh, here.
Oh, he gets one too.
Merry Christmas, yeah. But anyway, yeah, the alarm goes off, and they immediately pull guns on him.
Right.
I assume it's because his mom knows a lot of people. She's a very powerful person. But anyway, yeah. So
even like the nun in the beginning, like at the outside central.
Oh, she's
one
looking
of the
at
places.
like,
Yeah, it's like this is a 16 millimeter machine gun. I don't know anything about guns. 16 millimeter.
16 millimeter.
16 millimeter
that's
guns.
film.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, 16. I don't know.
This is just a death machine.
Yeah, it's a death machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, Central Service just shows up at the apartment, and they can't do it. Or they want to come in and fix it, but they're not going to fix it. They're just going to destroy his apartment. So he like kind of paralyzes him with this. It was like, oh, do you have the right form? I don't remember the name of the form. And they're like
27B/6 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And the tall guy like freaks out, and he's like, the form.
He's got PTSD, like flashbacks to to Vietnam.
Yeah, and then immediately the guy's like, we'll be back with the form. Yeah, there's so many moments in this movie where you can tell people are barely holding it together. Like, I don't know, Sam, when he goes to Jack's office for the first time, Jack is just standing there with his, like, he's kind of got his head in his hands, and he's just
he's like massaging his temples with some kind of machine.
Well, I didn't catch that. I just thought he was just like, and then he turns around and he's all smiles. It's like everybody's just like unhinged.
And his daughter's like playing at his desk,
He doesn't remember which one she is.
Yeah. Triplets.
Keep calling me Holly. Yeah, time flies. Oh, but yeah, and then De Niro's character Tuttle like zip lines out of the apartment. I think that was the moment where when I was watching this the first time in college, where I want to see more of that, and then he disappears for most of the movie.
Yeah, because he's like the idea of like the resistance, like, oh, maybe there's a way out of all this.
We're all in this together.
That is a line that I quote to this day. We're all in this together.
It's true though. Yeah,
it's just this kind of idea that it's a rallying cry. It's like, let's just get along, man. Like, we're all in this together. We're all living on the same rock, hurtling through infinity together. But it's also a kind of a message within the movie, like, we can't be cruel to each other if we're not cooperating. So like, we're all in this thing together, and
which just seems to be something everybody's forgotten though, because there is no empathy for most of the people in this movie.
No.
Like nobody, like these explosions are going off and nobody notices,
right?
Which I found was very comical.
Oh, at the restaurant, the explosion goes off. They just they bring in these like partitions just to shield people who weren't injured, just to block them from people bleeding to death. And
there's like waiters walking around with like they're just covered in blood, and they're like, oh, and then just ignore that.
Yeah.
Ignore the bomb just exploded from the terrorist.
The band keeps playing.
They keep giving out the food, which I thought was funny. It was like
just like scoops
it's
of
slop.
like blended food. Yeah,
but it's got a photo of what it is.
Right. It's just like 3 ice cream scoops of like steak.
Is it so? Yeah. Is it so they could just like they look at the photo as they're eating it, so they can make believe they're eating what's on the photo?
Yeah, I guess it's just cheaper just to throw it in a blender. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, everything's it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Though they do spend a lot on torture chambers.
Oh yeah, the
one
silo.
person in a silo.
But not on desks. Mm-hmm. There's like that whole scene where
they're sharing a desk.
They're sharing that desk.
He gets promoted and he gets like a smaller desk than he had before almost.
Yeah. But it's like split between. There's like a wall there, but there's the other guy on the other end who keeps like trying to like much like sleeping in a same bed with somebody, pulling the covers away from you in the middle of the night, and you're fighting for the covers.
Yeah. Fighting for a desk. And only one person does the computer.
Yes. You could easily knock out the wall. Mm-hmm. Oh God.
So, still not sold this movie?
No, I think like I said before, I don't hate this movie. I hate the way it makes me feel.
Okay.
Because this is.
It does everything. The ending is one of the famous downer endings.
It's very bleak.
Yeah. You think there's some hope, but then nope, he just snapped and went crazy, and he found some fantasy land in his mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake out. Like insanity is the ultimate. Like
it's the escape.
Yeah. Because you can't go anywhere physically, so you just go somewhere else mentally, I guess. But no, it's just in my life, I feel like I go through a lot of the. It's like no, here's the way we do things. This is just how things are done, and we're gonna
not questioning.
We're not questioning it. This is
doesn't matter. There's a better way.
Yeah, and then like all new ideas are like, oh yeah, we'll think about that. And it's like specifically like jobs I've had where it's just like, oh no, that's not the way things are done here. We got to fill out this thing. And it's like, can we just like, it's right there. Can I just like, I'll just do it. I'll do it. And it's like, well, it's really not your job. It's this person's job. And it's like, oh my God. So it's just like, I think it just made me really anxious. And also it was just, I think it's too long. So those are my only like complaints, but I think it's visually pretty amazing. I don't know. It's a good film. And I think it is an important film. I just think, I don't know what kind of mindset I could ever really even be in to really enjoy it. Like I did not enjoy watching this.
Gotcha.
But I respect it. Much like Nirvana,
yeah, right.
I hate Nirvana, but I respect what they did.
That's like me with the Beatles. Like I get their contributions to music, but like I don't go out of my way to listen to them.
Right. Where it's like, okay, you sparked off something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important. I'm not downplaying that. But
right. But anyway, yeah. So I've been talking.
Speaking about the length, did you know there was an entire battle over the final edit of this movie? Because I did watch a YouTube recap video at the end of this just to make sure I didn't miss anything, and one of the videos I saw was like the battle for Brazil. That is a documentary that was it's also on the Criterion DVD. I did not give you that one because
I wouldn't have had time.
It comes in the box. I rewatched that.
Yeah, you're the Brazil guy.
I rewatched the Battle for Brazil, which is a documentary that.
So I'll just quickly do an adjustment with our chairs right now.
Cut that out. The movie was done. It was edited. It was making some waves. Like before it was released to the masses. Sid Sheinberg, who was like the executive at Universal Studios, which was had a controlling stake in this film and its distribution, he basically wanted the movie to be cut down. He saw a lot of good stuff in it, but he's like, this movie's too long.
I'm liking this guy. I'm liking this guy so far.
But also, he did not like the fact that it was very the dour ending. He thought, like, American audiences, they want to feel good. They want to get out. They want to walk out and go buy things, and they don't want to think about how there's no escape. So, but Terry Gilliam kind of stuck to his guns, and there was a kind of a very public battle. Basically. He actually, they're trying to they actually made another cut of the film called the Love Conquers All cut, which is also available on the Criterion DVD, which cuts the movie down to 90 minutes, and it rejiggers the ending where it's the fantasy sequence that we see. They leave that as, this is what happened. He escaped, he blew up the Ministry of Information, and he got the girl, and they lived happily ever after. So that is like a version of this movie that exists, which was fascinating to watch. I'll get into that.
If I saw that.
It was also a TV version that apparently played some places, but
like for like prime time, because you can't air a movie this long. Like
no, you could, but it's some content stuff maybe.
Back in the day on like NBC, it's like NBC's not going to show this movie. That's what I was thinking. It's like, the ABC family movie, Friday night movie, Brazil.
So as Terry Gilliam and Sid Sheinberg were kind of going to this public war, like even Terry Gilliam took out like full pages in Variety saying like, "Dear Sid Sheinberg, when are you going to release my film Brazil? Signed, Terry Gilliam." He spent like $1,500 on that. Even went on like talk shows and just took out pictures of this executive. Like, this is the guy who won't let you see my movie how it's supposed to be seen. So he was even trying to go to like colleges and show like, unauthorized screenings to film school kids in USC. But he got like stopped by like a projectionist who got a call from Universal saying like, if you show that movie, like you're gonna lose your job or get kicked out of the projectionist union or whatever they threatened him with. Eventually they end up screening it to a bunch of LA film critics. And this critic association basically awarded like best picture, best director, best screenplay. So that buzz got out. And at that point, like Universal had no choice, just like, okay, put it out as he wants it.
It snowballed. It was like, all right, we can't fight public demand.
Exactly. So that's, but that version, the Love Conquers All version, which is about 94 minutes long, I rewatched it and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It really shows you the power of editing and like how much you can lose and how much just all the good stuff they did kind of chop out of it.
Right. Yeah, I can't see this movie. I do think it's too long, but I don't think it could be any shorter and also still make any sense.
I mean,
this
version, they got rid of all the fantasy sequences of him, like, fighting those bad guys, like those evil big samurais and like those baby monsters. Let's see what else. Of course, all the De Niro sequences were like pretty much intact, but they did have like a couple like weird like bad dubs of De Niro, like when they flood the maintenance guys with shit in their tubes. Yes, he says something like, "We gotta keep fighting back, Sam," and it sounds like a really like a bad like De Niro impersonator saying the line. It does not sound like him at all. They have some extended footage of like Sam and Jill like in the truck. Just they wanted to play that aspect up, obviously. Yeah. But also just like kind of just beating us over the head with exposition, like. Like before we go to the scene at the Buttle household before they get raided by the cops, there's this like really bad like still shot. Looks like it was shot like in a Universal Studios hallway. They just had like on a nameplate like Buttle, like it was almost like you could almost see like vice president, and then they just put like it was like one of those gold plated nameplates that looked completely out of place to what the location was in the movie. And they just kind of like a still frame of that, and they just kind of do this post production zoom in on it. It looks it's just.
It's totally out of it. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
They got rid of like the interview with Mr. Helpman in the beginning, all those like overarching like sports metaphors.
There's a guy in the wheelchair
in the Santa,
because they ask him, he's like, "Oh, what do you think about the bombings pursuing?"
Yeah, they got rid of all that. They got rid of all the restaurant scene except for like the very ending where the girl asks Sam he wants salt, and then the explosion happens. So we get that tail end of the scene, and they cut out the rest, which is. There's so much good in that scene to lose. Yeah. What else?
There's a lot in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot. And, what's also really kind of interesting is the scenes with when Sam gets promoted and he goes to Jack to try to, like, find Jill. And he's talking. Remember, in the original movie, the one we've all hopefully seen, is, like, his daughter's there. And it just kind of has this kind of, like, this comedic kind of undercut of the whole scene. They're talking about all this, like, horrible stuff.
Oh, yeah. And he's got his tools there that he's used to kill a person, I'm assuming, and then her toy, she like throws her ball and it like lands on the scalpels and stuff. She's like, "Oh, no throwing your toys here."
So apparently that version that we saw was like a reshoot because they have an original version of that scene where it's just two men just sitting across the table, like basically giving them. I can't talk today. They're exchanging plot information.
It's just exposition.
Yeah, it's just exposition. But just two men just sit in front of a table. Just here's plot A. Oh, do you know plot A? And you say, oh, plot B. Oh, plot C and plot D. Well, yeah, that's the end of the scene. It was just
weird.
It just had nothing else to it.
Yeah.
Yes, and then obviously it ends in a rescue where Sam's a more active participant, where he actually picks up like a rifle, starts killing off cops. Which I don't think he does in the original version. And he just finds Jill with no explanation, and then there's actually an extended scene inside the house that they have on the back of the truck, and there's a shot of her. This is actually like other footage that's not in the original movie, where like she sees him sleeping under like still frame. They just kind of extended a freeze frame, and then it cuts like a shot of like an angel, like in a framed portrait, and then it cuts like the Final Fantasy sequence of them just like him as an angel, just kind of like lifting her up into the clouds, and then the roll credits.
Right.
Yeah. Bastardized version, but I'm kind of glad it exists in a way, as I think it really did kind of deter like a lot of like studio meddling today that
It's like, oh, you want to shorten this? Well, here's this shitty thing. That
Right.
This is what you want?
Yeah. Like, can you imagine like all like the great movies of all time? Like if they just start releasing like, here's what the studio wanted you to see.
Yeah.
So.
That's interesting. That's cool that they did that cut. I assumed when you told me the Love Conquers All cut, I thought it was just like a director's cut type thing.
No, this was. Terry Gilliam's name's on it, but he refers to it as the Sid Sheinberg cut.
Interesting. Do you like? Do you have anything else to add on?
That's it for the Battle for Brazil. That is also documented in a book that's came out like back in 2006, I believe. So
Okay.
I haven't read it, but it's on my Amazon wish list. If anyone wants to get it for me for the holidays, I'm gonna start using this to get free shit, man. That's why I got into this podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, why else? Yeah.
Why else?
I mean, we still got to start that Patreon so we can just get more money to buy things.
We quit our jobs, right?
Yeah, we quit our jobs. Yeah. Get out of the system. Start a a little farm in the hills, away from the city.
I like that. Yeah, away from like the push and pull of the bull and bear capitalism.
Right. Yeah.
That's the dream.
Hashtag the dream. Do you like Sam in this movie? Because I don't know.
There's parts where like he is a bit grating.
Yeah.
And like there's other parts we kind of admire, like his. At least he's trying to do something.
Kind of.
He's trying to right a wrong.
But it's all very selfishly motivated. I'm not saying like. I don't think he's supposed to be very likable.
There are some very funny comic moments with him.
Yeah.
Even the moment when he tries to like eat that soggy toast, just
the Rube Goldberg machine that does not work.
Right.
Yeah. Just pointless, annoying machines everywhere.
Robots are just like checking you out.
Like when Jill smacks that one because it's just like that camera just keeps following her.
That's a moment that makes you feel good. It's like someone's fighting back.
Yeah.
Makes you think of those robots they now have.
They're fighting back, Sam.
They're fighting back. They have this fucking robots in giant supermarkets now.
Yes.
And like part of me
I forget what its name is. It has a name. They've given it a name.
It's probably like Robbie the Robot or
something like that. Yeah.
And it's just like just beeps every 10 seconds and just goes up and down aisles.
Kind of follows you around.
Yeah.
Will move around you.
I mean, I'm never in a giant long enough to actually see if it's following me.
No, usually for that reason, I'm not there because I don't want to. I see it's coming at me. I'm like, all right, time to get out of here.
And like part of you would just want to like just as a fight back for like the species of man just to kind of wallop it in the face. But like, like then they're just going to like, I don't know. What are they going to do? Call the cops?
Yeah.
It'd be like a whole day. It's
a whole
damage
day.
of property.
Whole day.
Yeah. I just came here to buy a bag of Caesar salad and you're hassling me.
You've lost a Saturday. I don't understand what that thing is.
Does it help with inventory maybe?
I don't know.
Is there a camera in it?
It would have to scan barcodes or something to help with inventory unless it's doing like a visual scan of how many cans of stewed... there's a gap in the stewed tomatoes. Get another can of stewed tomatoes?
Maybe like it helps with like spills?
Or is it just there to scare us? Is it there to just like oppress us?
It could just be like just getting us used to the idea of robots everywhere, Just start them off slow, Just a friendly neighborhood has got a big smiley face on it.
Does it? I didn't even notice it had a face.
It's got big googly eyes. I know that. They're definitely just kind of giving it. I give it looks, just like just if you can detect anger in my face, process that.
I got an article up here. Oh, I see. It has googly eyes on it. Yeah, on this photo.
Is there a name for it? Giant robot?
Marty. It's Marty. Because it's like
it's Supermarket.
I guess.
Marty the robot.
Trying to find.
That's what Star Wars got right. It's like we're not going to give these clever names. We're just going to give them like serial numbers and.
He's in 172 locations. It says here that, according to this article, it's an autonomous robot that uses image capturing technology to report spills, debris, and other potential hazards to store employees to improve your shopping experience. He's a fucking hazard.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm coming around the corner hot with a fucking shopping cart, I'm going to take out Marty. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I'm trying to get my fucking holiday thing,
You're doing your holiday shopping at Giant. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's like, it's where I get my organic products. Now I got Marty after me.
Yeah.
He's doing something else. He's doing something else.
Yeah, he's definitely like a camera in there to detect shoplifting.
Oh, yeah. He's got facial recognition.
Or if they need to detect shoplifting, there's a camera, just, if they need to use that as evidence.
Yeah. He's Marty has other ulterior motives. And it's, that's...
So much like Nazis, if you see a robot punched in the face.
Yes.
We can't let them get too comfortable.
Right.
They're gonna can't. Yeah. Anyway, though, if they did take our jobs, would that be such a bad thing?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
For it wouldn't be for us because you and I are privileged and have income. We don't work retail anymore. But for the people
yeah.
who have to work in
Yeah.
grocery stores, it's the same thing. People now are like taking a stand against the self checkouts because
Yeah,
that takes
I don't
jobs.
use them anymore.
I still do.
Yeah.
But if I do, there is an open cashier. I will go there. But if I have like literally a gallon of fluid that I'm buying, I buy my weekly fluid.
Right.
I will go to the self checkout, because usually I'm there like 11 p.m.
I just used one actually the other day. So
Yeah.
No,
Whatever.
No morals.
I try. I got enough to worry about.
Yeah. We're doing our best. We're not running like child sex slave islands and,
No, we're not.
Cheating on our taxes.
No.
Well,
not knowingly
we're not doing
cheating
one
on
of
our
those
taxes.
things.
Yeah, we're not knowingly cheating on our taxes.
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think he just stresses me out in this
Back
movie.
to Brazil, Sam
Back to Brazil.
Lowry.
It all relates.
Yeah.
Sam, he just everything he tries to do, he has this like weird messiah complex, which everybody all have our fantasies and stuff like that. And then he sees
Literally
Jill
saving the day in his
who
dreams.
looks exactly like the woman of his dreams. You would argue that he's fantasizing. He can fly, he has strength. He's kind of like a Superman type character, whereas De Niro is definitely like the Batman repairman. He's more like got gadgets and stuff like that. So this is the early Batman versus Superman.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about.
He's also got like this kind of Ziggy Stardust like face paint on him too.
Yes.
That blue stripe over his eye.
Kind of looks like Icarus.
Yeah.
Like
he flew too hot to the sun, too close to the sun, right?
Yeah. And then his wax wings melted.
Yeah, shouldn't use waxed.
Yeah. So he has this complex, and he's like, he's imagining about saving everybody, but then like, I don't know, he does get some empathy towards the end of the movie.
I mean, you look at his mother and like, you
understand
the wingbat she is, the plastic
Face being
surgery
stretched.
and trying to set him up dates with her best friend's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
He tries to do things, and it always blows up in his face. Like, I don't know. Even the whole chase sequence thing was very frustrating when he like tries to get Jill to drive.
Yeah, and he like starts writing like "I love you" and like the dust on her windshield. Yeah, that was a little much.
Or even like he's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna like, he floors it, like puts his foot on her foot, and they like go through that like traffic stop thing. And he's like, we did it, and it's like, no, you didn't do it, and like they're still coming, and it's like all these like action movie tropes where it's like, yeah, if this were an action movie, yeah, you made it out, but like no, and then he does it again where they let go of the house that she's dragging, which I guess that's her job. Is she's just driving houses around. She's some kind of trucker.
Yeah.
But then the police vehicles crash into it, and he's like, "We did it!" And he turns around, and there's just that man on fire, just burning to death, and he's just like, "Oh, whoops."
And like and they've barely known each other for like 10 minutes, and he's already trying to force this kind of. I mean, he's had her in his head, but she's like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Which they don't really explain why. Is it just a coincidence? Maybe he's seen her before around, and then like,
or
she has a record.
Yeah,
She's like in the system.
I mean, they were implying that maybe she's a terrorist.
Yeah,
she's in the database somewhere. If there are terrorists in this world,
I like that conversation. I like her a lot. She brings up that point where she's just like, "Have you ever actually seen a real terrorist?" Sam? Right. And he's just like, "Well, today's my first day." Yeah. It's like a bad improv scene. That's what towards the end of this movie I was like, there's so much shit going on here and nobody's explaining any of it. And it just, as a teacher of improv, I was just like, God damn it, somebody's got to ground this thing. And then it's all a dream.
Yep.
But I like Jill a lot. She's great. I like how he's just like, I love you. Like, oh, you need to fucking drive. And she's like, no, don't touch me. Get out of here. Get out of. She's like, no, I'm not going to do what you say. Right. Until he like, don't literally touch me. Nobody threatens to kill her. Yeah. And then still kicks him out. Like, there's that great line where it's, you must think I'm mad or insane. And she's like, no, I actually think you're very attractive. Yeah. And then just calms him right down.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Little spin. Let's see. Let's see it work it. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Would do.
Yeah. Would do. Yeah. You're totally my type. And then just kicks him out of the truck.
It's a great double-footed kick.
Oh, yeah, it's super good. Yeah. She's like holding on. She's still driving.
She just takes her feet off the pedals.
Right.
If there are pedals in these trucks.
Yeah.
Some IMDb trivia for you.
Okay.
I know you usually do this, but
no, I didn't. This is your episode.
Well, the name Brazil, it's apparently this kind of came from Terry Gilliam. He was at the beach in London. I guess they got beaches in London.
Really?
Apparently the weather was kind of drab, as they say. But he saw a man sitting on a beach chair under an umbrella just listening to this song, Brazil, by a guy named Jeff.
It's a real song.
Maldor. Yeah, it's a real song. Yeah, this was not a song that was made for the radio or made for the movie, I mean. And so he was just fascinated by this guy sitting there, just kind of making the best of everything, just listening to this song, and it just became kind of a rallying cry theme for this film.
Yeah, everybody's kind of singing it.
Yeah, it is like kind of the escape of Brazil. Like, you know, compare, you know, you think of like the country of Brazil, and you know, what do you think? You think of a tropical country, warm by the ocean, that giant Christ the Redeemer statue, maybe some shanty towns, maybe some parrots and
simpler things, maybe like
yeah.
Like I don't know, yeah.
And then you have to contrast that to this like claustrophobic British hellhole, and
yeah.
So that's just kind of Brazil is the idea of the escape from that.
It's not American,
right?
That's what I think.
There are like some American characters. I mean, the De Niro and Jill have like an American accent.
Yes,
I'd say, but maybe everything just kind of got squished together, and it's all just one society.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of like, it made me think of Starship Troopers. Mm-hmm. How, like, in that movie, I know that's a whole propaganda film, but like the whole family's from Buenos Aires. But everybody's white.
Yeah.
And it's like very just like, just looks like Florida.
It's like, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? Yeah. But yeah, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so when I think of Christmas, this is the movie that I think of, you know. And then for me, there's not really a debate. It's just a Christmas movie. It takes place at Christmas. There's holiday singers who are consumers for Christ towards the end in the little shopping center. Mr. Helpman wears the Santa suit. Everyone's giving each other gifts.
Can we talk about the ending to this movie?
Sure.
Like that whole scenario.
Yeah.
Do you have more trivia?
Some of the working titles to the movie were 1984 and a half.
It's like Naked Gun.
I think it was
supposed
insult. To kind of go off of the Fellini film 8.5, which features a lot of dream sequences.
Okay.
So,
this whole movie is kind of a spoof on 1984 in a way.
Yeah.
But still, not even a spoof. It's like, it's taking an exact idea and honoring it.
It's kind of throwing some jokes in there.
A little bit more visual gags.
Yeah.
Like
it's not...
The volleyball game in the factory. Everybody's wearing those like
they're wearing the hazmat suits.
Yeah,
they're playing volleyball. Something out of a
it felt like
Breaking Bad episode right there.
Yeah, no, it's those moments where it's like, this feels like it feels like Airplane or Naked Gun, but like 3 times as long. And like moments where it's just like these nonstop like visual gags, like, you know.
When he's driving to the housing project where Bottle lives, there's like that shot, like that kind of low shot of like there's like blue towers. What do you call them? Like the nuclear power plants.
Yes.
And then some old guy with a beer bottle. Stacks. The steel stacks.
Yeah, the
steel stacks are in this film. The old guy kind of looks sane. You think it's just like a giant, but no, it cuts to just looking at this model, just kind of drunk off his ass.
I like to see the cut of this movie where the whole movie becomes about that giant man terrorizing the city.
Just looking at model cities.
Yeah. I want to follow that guy.
Mm-hmm. Other working titles were The Ministry, The Ministry of Torture.
Sounds like a metal band.
How I Learned to Live with the System.
So it's like How I Learned to Love the Bomb sort of thing?
How I Learned to Live with the System - So Far.
Wow. Rolls off the tongue, yeah.
It's the last one is... So that's why the bourgeoisie sucks.
I like that one. I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, that one should be used.
These are all great, like Monty Python sketch titles.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah,
gets right to the idea of the thing.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made this movie better is if a big cartoon foot came down and just stomped everybody.
Maybe in the sequel, man.
Maybe in the sequel.
Get Brazil too.
They'll be remaking it. They're remaking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the end of this movie.
The ending. Let's go to the ending.
I like to talk to the point where they get away, and then they're in that his mom. Is it his mom's apartment, or is it his mom's friend who's
it's
like
the funeral?
Progressively more. No.
Right. Oh.
With the sex scene. With where are they when they have sex in the bed and she's wearing the wig?
I believe that's his mother's apartment. Yeah, because she's off on holiday with plastic surgeons.
Oh, okay. I couldn't. For some reason, I thought it was maybe her friend.
No.
Who's getting progressively more and more injured.
Oh, right. She's doing like the acid treatment by the
Yeah.
that doctor's like a little person. He's got like the little monocle.
Yeah.
He's got like one scene. But
I've tried that procedure and it doesn't stick. I liked her daughter with the braces. Yeah. And he sits on the couch and he's just like, listen, our moms have this idea that she's like, no, I don't like you either. I love that. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. The second being the lift, where after he goes to fake her death, I think. Oh no, he goes to like rescue her or something like that. Anyway, he's taking the elevator down, and it just keeps going down. It doesn't stop at the floor he wants.
Nothing works.
I thought that was funny. Nothing works. Even in the future, nothing works.
Yeah. Well, the ending. Just
the sex scene. Did that happen? Which part? When did things stop happening? For real.
Stopped happening when he was about to be tortured by his friend Jack in the silo with the guy with the baby mask. And
everything up to that point.
Everything up to that
is not
everything
fantasy.
After that, after the gunshot before the gunshot of him getting shot in the head by like De Niro and the quote unquote terrorists rescuing Sam. That's all fantasy.
Yeah, I figued that. Okay, so he's tortured and then loses his mind.
Or loses his mind. I think he blows up the ministry. He
blows up the ministry. De Niro and his buddies come in. They rescue him. Most of them get killed.
Yeah.
De Niro takes off his outfit to kind of blend in and then is eaten alive.
He's eaten
literally
by paperwork. By receipts and newspapers. That's the moment when I was watching it. I was trying to like, hey Dad, let's bond and watch a movie. And I was like, this is a movie that really, I have something, this really speaks to my heart and it makes me want to be a filmmaker. And I show him the movie, and like that point when De Niro starts getting eaten alive by paperwork, he's like, Jiah, turn it off. No, pause it. Pause it first. It's like, what the hell is going on here? This does not track with the established reality of this film up to this point.
Right.
And I was like, Dad, just not like 10 minutes. Just hang in there. He's like, I'm ready to turn it off. It's just too out there for me.
Yeah. It just keeps getting zanier and zanier.
Yeah.
It was
he goes to the funeral for his mom's friend who succumbed to her injury, her complications. That had a complication, and that's when you know when he escapes through her coffin. He falls through there, and he's like in the.
I don't know. That's when you know though, because the reality is just as absurd as his fantasies at this point. Like for all I know.
Oh yeah, there's a very thin
there's
line.
a coffin that has a duct that leads to another room. I don't fucking know. Yeah. His mom's turned to goo, and it was a horrifying moment where I was like, "Oh my god, she took Jill's face."
Right. Oh yeah.
But then they get a quick cut of her, and she's back to normal. So it's like
things are just unraveling. Reality's blending with fiction.
Right. And I guess just his
fantasies are coming to life. He's in like those alleyways, and there's baby monsters chasing after him.
The Mrs. Buttle being like, "What did you do with his body?" That would have been a great title for this movie.
What did he do with his body?
What did you do with his body? The movie, yeah.
One for what did he do with his body? Yes, one for, only one.
There's the Vivitch?
Yeah.
You mean the witch? Yes. That happened to me. I've been calling it the Vivitch with all my friends, and I was like, maybe that is how you say it. Can I get the Vivitch, please? And they're like, yep, one for the witch. All right.
I heard that same Todd. Joke 8 times that day.
Everything's blending together, and I think at this moment the movie was like really playing with my emotions, because then I was just like, oh, okay. I liked it when he got bagged and he's like hanging from the hook, and I was like, cool. I want this bleak ending. This makes total sense.
He's getting like talked about all these like lawyers and economists. Like, yeah, well, for this plan, you can get 6% cash back on all your torture devices. Or
he gets strapped in, and the guard's like, it's like, give in quickly. It'd really affect your credit rating if you don't. And it's like all this really heavy-handed, just like on the nose, like stuff. And I'm like, I get it.
Earlier on, the girl on the Santa Claus's lap. What do you want for Christmas, dear? My own credit card.
It's like feels like a student film at the end,
where
everybody's black and white and everybody's smoking cigarettes and just saying consumerism.
They're saying it in French though. So,
consumer.
Consommé.
Consommé? No. And then they escape the city in his fantasy, and then the quick shot of a little farm, and then we're back in the chair.
And then we're back in the chair, and we've lost him.
In the silo.
And we just see him. He's not dead. His eyes are open. He starts humming the song Brazil.
So is it a happy ending?
I think it's
Kind of.
happy.
It's the happiest ending that Sam could get.
He escaped. You know, I mean, if he's living in this fantasy world in his mind and doesn't have to deal with the realities of his nightmare real world, then yeah, I guess that's a happy ending.
It's a happy ending for me because that means that Tuttle is actually still alive and didn't die for this schmuck.
Right.
You know, like, because immediately I was like, why is he breaking him out? I was like, I guess they have a kind of rapport. Maybe he really likes his AC unit.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna we got to get this Sam guy in our
in
our resistance movement. He's gonna be a top man.
Right. So is all of this movie real then?
Yeah, up to the point where he starts getting tortured. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so absurd.
Justin, no movies are real. They're all just people on sets saying lines written by other people. And
what?
You know, they're just creating sets and.
No, but when did this movie happen? I didn't hear about any of this in the news.
You mean
I was 1 when this came out.
1
or 2. Maybe I was 2 years old when this came out.
85. It came out in end of 85.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My parents never told me about it. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Movies are real.
They might have a scrapbook somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I like the bleak ending. I don't know. It just tonally, I was just like, what is?
Like this was like I had seen maybe movies with darker endings, like I guess The Godfather 2 was a dark ending, but this was
Children of Men's pretty bleak.
Children of Men.
Even then, it's like.
I'd seen this first, I think in like 2001, 2002, around then. So I was like early high school, kind of angry, and so like this kind of dark ending was just like really kind of cemented in me. Like, yeah, things are dark. They're not all happy, sunshine, lollipop endings, man. You know.
Yeah.
It really kind of just it informed a lot of work that I would do later on, just trying to create worlds like that, or half-assedly trying to create worlds like that, or just like trying to have like a dark ending. I try to do like a lot of dark endings or ambiguity. I thought it was an excuse for just not wrapping things up, which things are kind of wrapped up in this movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's any like hanging plot threads, but.
No, not really. I mean, Jill's killed.
Yeah, off screen, just like
off
in
screen,
dialogue.
brutal.
Yeah.
After having sex, which I don't buy that she's in love with him at all.
Oh, not at all, no.
Which made me wonder, I was like, is this part real? But then I was like, oh, is this just like bad writing for like a female lead?
It's just like every movie had to have a love interest.
Yeah, story. So I don't know. I can't think of anything else except for like, I guess the only loose end was I mean, Buttle's family never got justice. Mm-hmm. That little girl's still going to be in the alleyway waiting for her dad to come home.
I will say back to briefly the Jill, the romantic subplot.
Yeah.
It is all worth it just for that one line where after he's like, oh, I killed you. You're dead in the system. And she says, care for a little necrophilia.
Oh, yeah.
That line, I think, makes it all worth it.
Okay.
If they started with that line, like, we got to work backwards, to have a love story in here to begin with, and then just somehow have her deleted, killed in the system. I don't know. I think it works.
Yeah.
I always think about like things like that. Like, did they just have that good line? They just had to work backwards, or did that line come organically from plot that was integral to the execution of the film, or is it all just kind of a little bit of both? So
I don't know.
I'll have to ask somebody who makes movies.
Yeah. Can we ask him? Is he still alive?
Who? Terry Gilliam?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive.
I'll ask
still
him.
Kicking.
I'll tweet at him.
Yeah.
Why? I guess the last question I have is Jill was really only in. I mean, she had a record because he was able to find her in the system, which I'm assuming, or if that was, I don't know if that was just a public database.
It could also be like everyone has a record,
But it's all because of him. He's obsessed with her, and then he pulls her into this situation, and then, oh yeah, I deleted you from the system, and it's like, well, she was just doing her job up until this point.
Yeah, I can't get any like more housing lugging gigs anymore, or all my benefits get cut off now.
Yeah, it's like you've practically she's not in the system anymore in this city where staying alive means being in the system, so you've essentially killed her anyway. I don't know. It's even that. It's like all the stuff he tries to do for her. It's like really. It's all. I don't know. I don't like him at all.
See, that's why I can almost argue I would have liked to see an even longer version of this movie.
Yeah.
Because then you would have got more world building, see what's on the outside world. Is there like a resistance movement? Or is that just not what this movie is interested in whatsoever?
Yeah, I think I like kind of leaving that stuff like ambiguous, and then because then you get like, I don't know, there's probably a role playing game centered around this.
Maybe,
like a D20 system where it's like you're playing Brazil, and I can see the class systems. It's easily like everything's structured where like, oh, you're in records, or you're in information gathering, or you're my character's a rogue ace air conditioning repairman who carries a gun.
You got to play it like 6 times to get the full story, though.
Yeah.
Different
or you can like keep it to 90 minutes and everybody has a terrible time.
So that's Brazil for
Brazil.
me, man. It's just one of those movies where, like, you know, not looking back, like, you know, people like, I say like, oh, I'm into movies. Like, what's your favorite movie? And instead of saying like Jackass 2, I'm like, I like Brazil. Heard of it?
Well, you know what? I like Jackass 2. Heard of it?
Yes.
You know what? Sad.
That makes, yeah.
A lot of young people now have not heard of that movie.
Someday there'll be a point where no one heard of anything. All of culture could just be deleted with the pen stroke, with a fly getting caught in the system, and then it just says delete all the files. We're done. Pack it up, and let's start from the beginning. Let's start making Journey to the Moon and Citizen Kane and those first Einstein films of trains like driving right towards the screen.
Right at the screen.
Right
yeah.
at the screen. So
everybody screamed.
let's start over, man.
Just level it all and start over.
We'll get it right next time.
Yeah, we'll get it right next time. That's not in this movie. I like Brazil. I
see a glob of spit on the outside of the disc right now.
That's some. Yeah, that's. I spit on it. I will say, I will never watch this movie again. I'm done with it. I'm glad I watched it again, and I sat down and had a proper experience of watching this DVD on a 4K television.
Justin's just throwing the DVD at me right now.
I'm putting it into the candle. I have a lit candle here. Here you go. And this is the ceremonial end of the podcast where I give you back the DVD.
Ooh, we should do that more often.
I give you back control, I think, live, right?
I think so.
No,
it's going to be hard when you talk about like the Mandalorian or something.
God. Well, that's not going to exist in anything we can hand it.
I'm sorry. Did I say Mandalorian? McClunky.
McClunky, yeah. I'll have to literally hand you my laptop with Disney Plus open on it. Yeah. Disney Plus sponsors this podcast, so listen to that.
Thank you, Bob Iger.
Thank you, Bob Iger. Brazil. Thank you for... I don't know. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed talking about it.
I would be interested in trying to do more polarizing films. Or just like films that we don't have. We're not just saying, love this, love that, love this, love that, slobbering all over it, you know?
Right. No, I think having real opinions about it, I don't think you can really just strictly love or strictly hate something.
Right.
It's more complicated than that. And whereas it's like, I don't hate this movie, but God damn it is a frustrating movie. And I think that's the point. So
maybe
bravo.
In 20 years, you'll revisit it. You know,
No.
It was 20 years since the last time you watched it. Or not 20 years, I don't know. How long was it?
20 years from today.
You said 2002, 2003.
Oh, yeah. I was definitely living in the dorms in college. So this is probably, I don't know.
Okay, so more about 15,
like 17 years
18
ago.
years.
Maybe.
Math.
Yeah.
We'll edit in math later.
We'll edit it. Yeah, we'll punch that in. Do you have anything else to...
That's it, Brazil. It's my Christmas movie that it never really plays publicly at the Peck household. You know, just one of those things I just kind of keep hidden to myself, and sometimes I let strangers in on it.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
Exactly.
I made my parents watch The Life Aquatic one time, and it went about as well, except I think we made it 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
As soon as there was glowing jellyfish on the beach, that's where they checked out. So they made it longer than... Or not, you made it longer with your parents with Brazil. So,
well, do you have a Christmas movie that you watch with your family? If we're just going to end on Christmas, this is coming out around
like
now?
Elf.
It's
It's simple. It's short. You know, it makes me feel good on the holidays. I don't know. We've always been a fan of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
I think that's my all-time favorite.
Nice.
I watch that every Christmas Eve. Also somehow end up always watching Poltergeist as well. That's also a good holiday movie. Because, you know, as any movie now can be a holiday or Christmas movie.
Some say Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Crazy notion if I ever heard one, but apparently some people believe that. If you
tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us at
your opinions.
At Jiah Peck and at
We hate YR hate. We hate your hate.
Right.
At twitter.com. You can follow us on there. You can follow us on Facebook at Amusing Ourselves to Death.
I think we have an Instagram. I
You started one, but I don't think it's active yet.
No.
But find us on there. Maybe we'll start trolling people on that platform. Like, rate, and review, and subscribe.
Yeah. Right. It's just like 5 stars.
Yeah,
only.
5 stars only.
5 stars only.
Brief review.
I'll take a 4-star too.
You know, if you're already there,
right,
just
move your mouse to the right just a little bit.
you're only doing that. You're already doing this out of guilt because you don't want to give us a review, so you might as well just give us 5. Go watch Brazil. Yeah, I will say it's a Christmas movie. It is, I believe, a movie that people should see at least once. So, and I guess if you're listening to this, it's almost Christmas. So, happy holidays.
I'm
Merry
sure there's
Christmas,
snow out.
Happy Hanukkah.
It's beautiful out. There's sleigh bells in the sky and on the street.
Yeah.
You see the little red nose of Rudolph in the distance.
Yeah, in the distance. Could be a nuke on its way. Could be Rudolph. We don't know.
Probably drunk. Hopefully drunk.
Rudolph or you?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, hopefully.
Anything to get through the holidays.
Hey, you know what? If you right now we're just about through them at the time this episode comes out.
Holidays are always it's like the anniversaries where I quit smoking, so that's how I always remember about that. Like I kind of have an association with like smoking cigarettes and the holidays that I don't have ananymore. But I miss it. And just so those dreams start intensifying. Where I just have a dream where I smoked a cigarette and I wake up and like
you're
disappointed.
flying in a wingsuit.
Yeah.
You have a sword.
And I'm trying to save a blonde chick who was nothing to do with me whatsoever.
And you defeat the samurai and you rip off the mask and it's just the face of your dad saying, "What's happening?"
Yeah, what's happening?
This
Turn
isn't
this off.
Based in a reality, I understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch Fox News or something. So.
You know, the holidays are the time that you quit cigarettes, and the holidays are the time that your father quit Brazil.
And with that,
and with that,
see you later.